Hello everybody, my name's Kiahonfire and welcome back to Conan Exiles' new update, the 3.0 Age of Sorcery. This is what you might not have heard of or might not know of. Today they've come out with a new teaser and some more information on what we're going to be getting in 3.0. So today I'm going to cover it. And already on the first teaser image we can see a lot of different things going on. It looks like we're in the wine cellar dungeon with the skull in the background. You can see there's a skeleton and there's a slightly new looking undead creature to the left hand side. More importantly though, you can see there's a new spell in the middle of the screen, which seems to be a lightning ability, which is talked about more further down in the patch notes. You can also see someone using the wisp magic we saw in the trailer and more. But you can already see right there, we got a new undead model there. The skull is a lot more built up and it's a lot more fleshy than the other one, because you can see on the other side on the right, it's not quite the same proportions and this one is a lot more bony. So we could have a new creature right there. In this article, it also goes on a little bit about how you're actually going to obtain this sorcery, learn it, and upgrade and all of that, and get your spells and stuff. What they tell you here is you're going to acquire something called the Tome of Kurak, and this tome will let you unlock sorceries one at a time. So I'm assuming it's going to be something like you need to go around the map and learn different books and stuff like you would do traditionally on Conan Exiles like this. And then they also say something about this. To do this, you must find and combine the Sorcerer's Spell page at the new Thaumaturgy bench. Thaumaturgy bench. I suck at saying that, sorry. So, we're going to be finding papers and pages to combine into that bench. Now, this could also work like how Scepter works when it came to using the delving bench, and you would put in items into this bench and it would come out with a new recipe. So we could perhaps be looking at a hybrid of this and something new there that we can utilize and learn more spells to do that. So it also says on the bottom half of the image, as you process and learn new spells, you'll require more and more pages. So it's going to be you need an amount of them to get more. So more pages, more spells, good stuff. And to speed up this process, you can now take sorcerers as thralls, forcing them to research pages for you over time. So perhaps a passive ability in the bench once you've stuck a sorcerer in. And this is going to be really interesting as well, because we're now going to have sorcerers as thralls. Now, if they usually go on a bench, it means they don't follow you around. So maybe it would be really cool if they had a little sorcerer following you around like a fighter, and they could use some of the sorcery and, you know, I don't know, shoot lightning out of their fingers like Emperor Palpatine or something. But it sounds like they're going to be converted into one of your traditional building thralls, like it is for the blacksmith or something. They convert into an actual item that you can place in the bench and they do a thing for you, and that's it. But it would be cool if they do have a version of the sorcerer that you can use as a thrall that follows you around. And as they've reiterated a few times in this kind of update and articles I've read, and even the stream, that the more corruption you get, the more different spells you can unlock and use. Because it does seem like you need a certain percentage of corruption to be able to use some spells. And this means making yourself into a little bit of a glass cannon, because when you trade, you know, your corruption for your health pool is going to go down and other things will go down, because of course this corruption is now going to be used in your attributes for different attributes that you can unlock with the new corruption tier. And I personally really like this mechanic because it gives corruption a use. It makes a lot of sense in Conan, and it means you're not like this all-powerful god going around, bah, 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 bah. You don't have a weakness, basically. But this gives you a bit of a weakness, so you've got to choose what you prefer if you want to go the magical side. And it's going to be really interesting how people are now going to do their builds because of this update. It's going to change a lot of things, and that is really exciting for me because it gives a new fresh perspective in the game and something new to do, and different builds we can do that are a lot more solid, because in the game before there's only a few builds you'd see people going around with really that would be of any use, and then you get a lot of ones that are basically the same but a little bit different, and it was a bit yawn. So having it spiced up a bit is definitely good fun. They also go over here where if you're performing corruption, the more corruption you get, you'll see the corruption withering away on your body. Now, if you don't like this effect and it looks ugly to you, there is actually a spell that completely changes your character back to normal, so you don't have to look at your veiny corruption character. So you could actually hide that you're a sorcerer, I suppose, in game. But I mean, once you've got your wand out, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? But I suppose you might be able to hide your corruption level with this spell. Or you could just rock the veiny look. It's up to you, I suppose. But they do confirm in the article that when you do up your corruption, it's definitely going to be lowering your max health and your stamina. They also confirm here that the corruption attributes you'll be able to convert is your strength, vitality, and authority. They don't say anything else about the other perks, though, like your other trees. So perhaps there's only 3 trees you could specialize in for this corruption right here. They have also said that in the beginning of this, when you start corrupting one of your trees, like strength, at first it's going to be a little underwhelming, it's going to be like, but when you get up in the tiers and get it more corrupt, when it goes to the end, like the right at the end perk, your final perks, that's when it's going to get really special and you're going to get some really powerful perks. They're going to be absolutely worth using. Now in the article they go over a few of the spells we've already seen, so you can see the Call of Nurgle is what they call it for the bat, and this confirms that you'll be able to use it to glide. You'll actually be able to control the bat and move around, but it does have an energy bar, and this depletes over time. And it also says here you can ascend higher at will if you wanted to. So you can go up and down on this bat, drop yourself off, and eventually you will need to land because the energy bar will run out. I'll be really interested to see the cooldown of this once you've used your bat, how long you might need to wait, or is it just like a cost thing you need to do, or can you just summon the bat straight away again and go off flying? Who knows? Maybe the bat needs a coffee break, who knows? There's also the Creeping Darkness one, which is kind of interesting, I've found. I don't know if I'd personally use it very much, but I could see this being quite interesting in perhaps a PvP scenario because it does seem quite unusual. They have said about once you cast this darkness, if you have like a certain, I think it's an item, or maybe it's just you in there, you'll be able to see the enemy in the darkness, but they won't be able to see you. So that could be really interesting doing that way. I can imagine that could be quite annoying as well if people just start casting that like all over their base, and then you can't see them, or it's, you know, limited vision, and then just got like all this advantage on you. So it could definitely change up the PvP game, having the Creeping Darkness spell. They also mention here about that spell, enemies caught in the unnatural nightmare are terrified until attacked. So does this mean it's going to stun thralls and stop them working or fighting you when this darkness is upon? So this could mean like you could go up to a boss and it won't move at all, or it'd be just like running around and not attacking you. Or, well, it does say until attack, so once you attack it, it's going to attack you back by those wordings, so... But it could be a very interesting tactic to use that on bosses, perhaps, or, you know, you could use it on people and on the enemy's thralls. That could be quite an advantage as well, because they'll just be sitting ducks. Then it goes over the Lightning Storm, which looks epic. This is one of the first ones we've seen spell-wise that actually seems to be a damage-type spell. So it does damage. So it says, it strikes your enemies in an area with lightning while leaving you and yours unharmed. So you see this person here in the picture. There's a dragon fireballing this, whatever that is. It looks like a wolf of some kind, maybe an imp, maybe something different actually. I don't quite know what that is. It looks kind of like a werewolf to me. But anyway, he's casted his lightning spell, it's going everywhere, and you can see that is going on in the image. But yeah, that's the first damage one, because the other ones they've mentioned is you got Ice Bridge, Invisibility, you have the darkness one, the bat. Those are all utilities, so it's interesting to see here there's actually going to be one used for damage. There's going to be damage spells here, so that is really cool to see. Anyway, they go on a little bit more about the different types of sorcery you can do, or necromancy shall we call it in here. They call it rituals, and this is another way you can do sorcery, but it makes you do crafting instead. So you've got to do a crafting tree to be able to do the ritual stuff. So if you don't like the other stuff, like going around and finding the books and pages, you can craft things instead. An interesting thing here in this segment is it says sorcery and summoning require regents, some more sinister than others. So that's very interesting. And then it says by bringing an unfortunate captive to a sacrificial stone, you can draw their blood to be used to summon various demons at the Circle of Power, another new crafting station. So there's a different crafting station they're mentioning here, the Circle of Power. We can summon things. Maybe we'll be able to summon the zombies through that or something else. These little mounds, these people coming out in the image, though, don't look like circles of power to me. They are more like, you know, a grave or something it's coming out of. So this could be a different object here. Very interesting. And then how they say about more sinister than others maybe could imply that there's more ways to go about this than just sacrificing captives on the sacrificial stone. It definitely gives you more ways to use some of the thralls that you'll get in camps. So I'm going to imagine nowadays it's going to be even more valuable to equip your thrall with a truncheon and go in a camp, and then you're going to have all of these like bodies everywhere, and you can finally utilize them. Although I imagine this is going to create quite a lot of lag and stuff, or buildings near populated cities and stuff, because people are going to be wanting to not only have the Wheel of Pain there now, but they're also going to be wanting to have their like sacrificial altar, whatever thing it is, to do the blood work and get their various demons and stuff out. So you could see a little bit more bigger buildings around, you know, towns and stuff, because people want to do this and not travel very far and do it in an efficient way. So that could be a bit of a downside to this kind of update, and having to utilize thralls that way, I could see that being an issue. It is already a thing because of Wheels of Pain. It just means the buildings might be a little bit bigger now, or things might be done a little bit in a different way. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt. You got your pros and cons there, and it depends on the person as well, because someone might just want to run them all the way back to the base to sacrifice them, who knows. And of course in a PvP situation it's not going to be safe to have your wheels and your sacrificial stone, I suppose, that close to a camp anyway. You're going to be want to be more hidden or fortified. They continue this post by saying, by having the new ritual crafting stations at your base, you'll be able to teleport to distant locations. So you'll be able to use your teleporters like obelisks. This is going to be insanely helpful on places like the Isle of Sipta, because they don't have an obelisk system. It also says you'll be able to raise the dead, summon demonic mounts and followers. So we could have more of a range of different mounts now, maybe not just horses. We've already seen like a scabby demonic horse with like vampire teeth. Could there be even more mounts we can use other than the horse and rhino? Who knows? That could be really cool if they add some more things in there, and a different way to go about it. And they also have talked about the power of illusion to change your appearance of your gear. I'd be interested to know when you unlock that power of illusion, when you can get your hands on it, and how you would unlock it. Because I'd imagine that would be something you'd want quite early on, as I do know I like that quite early on myself, as I usually install the mod Fashionist to remove my helmet, because I don't like the look of most helmets on my character, and it hides my lovely long locks that I like swaying in the wind. Anyway, that is pretty much the article. Oh, there was one more thing we do have to talk about, which is further up I didn't talk about earlier, is a creeping affair. They go a bit more into this. So they confirmed that it is not a fireball flinging magic missile spell kind of way of sorcery in Conan. They're going to try and keep it authentic to Robert E. Howard stories, and usually how magic was done in those stories was it was quite dark, and you do things like necromancy to get power and stuff. I'm not going to comment like overly too much on that, because I'm sure there's many people out there that know a lot better than me about that stuff and a lot more informed. But basically, just the way magic was done was dark. It was inherently evil. So you're not going to get anything like, oh, heavenly magic. You're going to get very dark magic, creepy stuff, you know, very Conan-esque. It's going to be very awesome that way. And something really different. Like, instead of getting it like normal, like most other games will do, like you'll get all these different trees of magic that might just be randomized, this one's going to be very focused on it being insidious, creepy, and dark. Something they say in here as well is raise the dead, conjure darkness and ice, and summon demons to tear apart who oppose you. Like I've said in previous videos, when they talk about summoning demons, it sounds a lot like Josev's Iwa mod, how he's done necromancy, where you'll be able to summon these demons for a short time to aid you, and then they will disappear. So that's something very interesting. Like I said, I do enjoy how Iwa's done it, so if they're doing something similar, then that's also quite enjoyable, although I do feel quite bad for Josev, but hey-ho. Conan have been doing this for a little while, where they have been quite inspired by modders as of recent updates, it would seem. And that's a whole new pinch of salt I'm not going to go into, because some people like it, some people don't. Some modders like it, some people don't. Anyway, that is the update. That is all I have to talk about to you today, and that is all the new stuff they've talked about and all the teaser images. As always, I'll be leaving these patch notes in the description down below, so if you want a closer look at the images and all that, then you're more than welcome to go and click on that link and find it for yourself. Also, you can see here there's new banners. I'm imagining this is probably going to be either in like something you can get from their battle pass or bazaar, as I do know a lot of that stuff is going to be cosmetic, as they says on stream, so this could be very interesting. You get some more cosmetic stuff. Hoping this ain't cosmetic though. This would be really cool to have as part of sorcery, but I imagine they did say you'll be summoning demonic mounts, so I imagine that's not something you'd have to buy. But you know, I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna wrap this up here today. Thank you for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.